Hello everybody, thanks very much for tuning in. This is another video in the Patreon exclusive content that I'm just putting on YouTube. It's only available for you through a specific link because this video is not listed. It's public but not listed, so you can of course watch it. So this goes out to all of my Patreon subscribers. Thanks very much for supporting the channel, especially during these days. I'm trying to get one of these videos every month to you that's just specifically focusing on one part of spoon carving that's maybe a little bit less talked about, just gives you a couple of ideas behind the scene. On this note, I want to point out though as well that I have by now 22 hours of exclusive content as well on Boon TV. I've got spoon carving, cooks carving and decoration courses. In fact, this piece here is actually from the decoration course I did on Boon. There is over 22 hours altogether available. Each of the courses is very affordable as well. So check it out, boon.tv and Woodsman's Finance. There's all of that content right there. Basically what I'm trying to bring to you in small increments over time. And of course, thank you very much for supporting me on here, because this is the only way I can do my YouTube channel. It's actually producing a lot of cost for me, software, music, camera equipment, etc. So you guys being on here supportive is making it possible that I yank out those videos for you. So today we're talking about something that's not really often mentioned, which is symmetry and how am I achieving symmetry. And I'm actually having two very different spoon blanks here. So this is actually, both of these are commission work. This is already dry, so I'm doing finishing work on this. And this one here just came out of a water bath, which I recommend if something's a little bit too dry or tough for you guys. Just put it in a water bath for a while, for a couple of days, and you're going to be surprised at how easy it is to carve these tougher woods again. However, so this is soaking wet, but what I'm getting at is that these are very different. And when you're talking about symmetry, symmetry is a funny topic because you would think that it comes out in certain shapes more than in others, and that's actually true. So if you have already a shape to begin with that is somewhat asymmetric, like in this case we've got this bachi spatula, like a Japanese style spatula I'm working on, and it's actually named after a pick used in shamisen playing, which is kind of a Japanese banjo, if you will. And if you have already a asymmetric shape in your spoon, cookset, bowl, whatever you're working on, paddle, there's a lot of things, just in general, asymmetric. It's not going to be as much of a concern if curves throughout the rest of the shape are uneven. And it can also be on purpose. I've done a few spoons I call the Jekyll and Hyde spoon, where both sides were completely uneven on purpose. And then there's of course different types of diagonal fronts of the spoon. It can be an asymmetric eating spoon that helps you to get to the bottom of a bowl, or it also can just be a spatula like this, or a cooking spoon, where of course you want to be, if you're right-handed, it's just going to be easier for you to get around the pan and into the corners if you have something like this, right? So if you have a small spoon like this that is meant to be symmetric though, like in this case we're obviously going for a symmetric, very big scoop, or like very stubby eating spoon. It's really depending on, I haven't decided yet if we're going to make it a shallow bowl or a deeper bowl. It's going to decide that. But then all of a sudden, symmetry, especially in a small shape like this, because it's such a small shape, any type of asymmetry in my opinion is becoming very apparent. What am I going to do in order to make sure that things are symmetrical? In my courses I always point out that you've got the best gauges there are in your face, your eyes. Your eyes are unbelievably good at aiming, at realizing where the center is. It's also called visual proprioception, I think is the term for it. When you aim, for example, you're just able really to aim at a certain dot, and you can also just figure out halves and distances. And if you're training it a little bit, you're just practicing a little bit, you can get extremely accurate with that. And in fact, I've done a lot of eating spoons with the same style without a template, and then I was realizing when I put them all together in a box, as a batch, I realized that they were up to, I think 2 millimeters was a difference in all of these spoons that I did without a template, because just there was this certain shape, a certain size that felt right for me, and I just drew the same every single time, and they came, to a difference of about 2 millimeters, all of them, which is less than 1/8 of an inch. So use these gauges you have in your face by constantly during the carving process aiming at the spoon in a different way. So one thing that is for me working very well is aiming along, because as you aim like this, because of the perspective, I don't know if this is apparent, but because of the perspective, differences in the curve become extremely, they basically become bigger. As everything just gets kind of condensed in the perspective, a small change in a curve that you wouldn't necessarily see holding it out like that, as soon as you're aiming along it, you're definitely gonna see a kink, or you're gonna see just like a little belly somewhere or something. So first of all, I really like aiming along the spoon like this. Another thing this does for me as I'm working, I really like making sure that the sides are usually 90 degrees as I'm axing and rough carving, and that the two planes of the bowl and the handle are parallel to each other. So this plane here and that plane here of the bowl, I don't want them to be crooked or like twisted to each other, because that's only going to be exaggerated as the spoon dries, and it's only going to be exaggerated as you're getting closer to the finished shape. So just make sure to keep aiming like this, and not only like that, what people are talking about a lot, which is this holding at arm's length, sometimes against like a light or dark surface, depending what works for you in your lighting. It usually makes the differences a lot more apparent. But then again, employ the aiming along like this, and you can do this with a lot of different things. Your knives, you can do it with your car. Sometimes it's fun. I did that with a couple of old muscle cars. Whenever I see one on the street parked or something, I would just walk up and just aim along the side of it, and you would realize certain things that you don't really see in the profile of the car, for example, and you would aim along, and all of a sudden you see beautiful lines, you know, perspectives, and like different bellies and just shapes, three-dimensional shapes you're not aware of if you're just looking at things basically in the two-dimensional form. So I hope this was helpful. This is just another little pro tip, if you will, trying to get all of this stuff to you directly. Thanks again very much for always supporting the channel. It makes it possible. And yeah, check out Boon TV. I hope all of you are safe out there. Make the smart choice. Just stay apart for a little bit longer, so we're all going to be able to you know, be still there when all of this is over. And yeah, check out woodsmansfinest.com, please. As always, there's new tools coming out right now. We're actually working on the last batch of prototypes for all of our hook knives coming out. I just released a straight gouge for carving. We have the bent gouges, of course, the different axes available, and we're working on sloyd knives too. So by the end of spring, probably beginning of summer, we're gonna have a complete one-stop shop for all spoon carving tools you're ever gonna need. Bowl, carving tools, all made from bearing steel, all hand forged and commercially, industrially, in fact, heat treated, of course, for a completely controlled environment to get you the best heat treat, which I love on this 52-100 bearing steel. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is a great time to, you know, just learn and hone your skills, whether at home, reinventing yourself, using time on things that you maybe usually don't have. So I hope you're gonna have a good time with this and don't get too discouraged. Have a great one, be safe, I'm gonna see you next time. Cheers.